everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast ever, Oi Let's Talk.
Hopefully before you started this episode, you rated it 5 stars.
And if you didn't, what the fuck are you doing? You need to go back right now. You need to click that 5-star and then you need to share it with your best friends. And we're going to hold you to it. So you better do it. Anyways, today we're here because we want to talk about friendships, the importance of friendships. And I get a lot of questions, Jem, you're probably the same. We get a lot of questions about how to find your people. How do I find like-minded friends? Where do I look for friends? And I'm going to say your Instagram DMs because that's how we found each other.
But put yourself out there. If you want to find more people, you need to let go of your fear of rejection and think about what you have to gain. Because I thought in my head when I messaged Kate, what if she doesn't reply? What if she leaves me on
Were you
red?
nervous to message me?
I just had like a couple thoughts. It wasn't enough to not message you, otherwise I wouldn't have messaged you. But I just had that in my head, like, oh, what if just nothing happens from it? But then on the other side, I was like, oh, what if I make a new friend? What if we train together? Like that was overriding any negative thing. I was open to the fact that I would love to make more friends in the industry. And that was what was driving that decision. But I think a lot of people don't like what I said at the start, the being afraid of being left on scene or things like that. And that's also okay. Like if you did get left on scene or say if you were busy and you didn't reply, that is also okay. If you make it less about you and more about where the person's at, then you will feel a lot more free flowing about putting yourself out there in this situation.
Yeah, less attached to it.
Yeah.
I think as well, we're like, obviously everyone always says like, making friends as an adult is quite a hard thing. I don't actually believe that because I think that if you want to make friends, you're going to go out of your way to make friends. Exactly like what you did with sliding into my DMs. Like if you wanted to make a friend in the industry, you're going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And if I reply or not, you're probably going to slide into someone else's DMs.
Yeah.
Thank fuck that didn't happen. But it's a thing. So I think when we think about making friends as an adult, firstly, you need to understand what are your values, right? What do you actually value? If you're looking at your friendships right now and you're thinking, fuck, all my friends are partying and doing MDMA on the weekend and that's not my vibe. I'm going rogue today.
That's okay.
And that's actually not my vibe. It's like, well, okay, look around at what is your vibe? What do you actually value? Do you value your health? Do you value potentially running a business? Do you value, travel? And then start to look in areas where you can find friends that also value business, health, or travel or whatever it is.
Sorry, it just appeared to me that
An epiphany.
2 of my best friends in my life have been found via Instagram DMs.
Who was the other one?
Emily.
No shit.
So Emily, just to get into who Emily is, was her bridesmaid,
love
one of
Emily.
my best friends, love her so much. And the reason that we became friends is because we were mutual, like we knew of each other. But one time, just knew of each other. We're in 2 different kind of family groups. And one time I was like, do you want to do the 1,000 steps? And then she's like, yeah, let's do it. And then that became a fitness friend. And that was just because I thought we had a few things in common and I knew that she'd probably like to do the steps with me. And that was the start of that.
And
so
she is an MVP.
she is amazing.
She also has bright red hair.
She does. I can't wait to see her tonight. But I was just going to say just another person that however many years ago, 6-7 years ago, that has become someone who's like a ride or die. But you've just got to shoot your shot.
And you know how good it feels when you find friends that are so aligned with you? It feels like you've come home.
Yeah.
Like you can feel relaxed and
Right
choked
there,
on my own saliva. You can feel relaxed and grounded. There's nothing worse than like hanging out with friends where you potentially feel really drained or you're like, fuck, I've got to say yes because if I don't say yes, then this person's going to get upset, whatever. Like when I look at our friendship, Gem, I look at it like there's never an expectation. I never feel like I need to not be myself around you from day one. And like that feels fucking good.
Yeah.
How many friends do you have in your life where you're like, oh, I can't say that because that might upset them or I can't do that. It's like finding your people comes down to your values and putting yourself out there.
And I would also say holding friendships to a high standard where you are sensing how you feel when you're around people. As we've just said, like feeling open, comfortable, you can be yourself, coming from a place of not feeling like you're judged, not being put down. all of those things are given to me. If I was friends with someone and they're constantly shitting on me, or they were bringing me down, or someone I like,
shit about other people.
if they're talking about other people, they're talking about you. And I need you to understand that, whoever's listening right now. If you're around someone who's constantly gossiping and negative, I hate to break it to you, but you're not the exception. And I think being aware of that and holding your friendships to a higher standard and creating distance between anyone who doesn't align with you. And again, it could be that they were meant for a different phase of your life, or you're going into a different direction. Just because something is ending doesn't necessarily mean that it was bad at the time, but have that standard, and you will welcome people who rise to that standard and who also treat you the same way. It is a mirror.
Absolutely. That was really good.
So I was on a bit of a rant there.
That was so good. If your friends are talking shit about somebody else, they're talking shit about you, you need to realize. Abso-fucking-lutely, mic drop.
Mike's going to be dropped again today.
Yeah, I mean, every time.
Could we talk about a bit of a friendship oath?
Yeah.
Because when we started being friends, I wasn't here to fuck around.
No.
I kind of want to know, and I also want people in my life who love what I'm about and are ride or die or are not. And I knew that as soon as I started talking to Kate that we were soul sisters. But I also was so aware of the fact that when you're an adult navigating new friendships and communication styles and things like that, I just wanted to set like the tone of being like, hey, like if I say or do something and you're not sure, you know, tell me straight away. I would rather you openly communicate than hold something in and then down the track figure out I fucked up somehow. So when we started becoming closer and becoming friends, I think that we had these discussions earlier on, and I think that it really set the tone for how close we are now. What was your thoughts on me messaging you being like, oi, friendship oath?
Yeah, no, it was in the friendship oath and the podcast oath. I'm getting them confused.
Yeah.
But Gemma was that serious about not fucking around. She literally sat me down and was like, we're signing an oath. And I was like, all right,
Okay.
let's do it. But I actually really love that.
Yeah.
Because I guess going back to my feeling like home, the comfortability around you, I've never felt like, oh, I can't say this or I can't do this or I have to do this or whatever, because you set that standard so early on. It's like Gemma pretty much in this standard was like, in the oath, was like, if I do something to piss you off, tell me. If I say something that you don't like, tell me. If I do blah, 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 tell me. And I said, same, tell me.
Yeah.
Because it means that, okay, cool. If Gemma does something to piss me off that you've never done before, she does something to piss me off, I feel like I can openly message you and be like, hey, that was a little bit weird. Like, can you not do that again? That made me feel X, Y, and Z.
What I was trying to do is set the tone for the fact that I want to be a good friend.
Yeah.
I want to be a good partner. I want to be a good coach to my clients. I want to do well, but I am not always going to get it right. So what I'm doing, and I would have done this with Ben when we started dating, I was like, tell me if there's something that I am inadvertently missing or not reading the room or whatever, because I genuinely will take that on board and try to be better. I mean, I'll probably have a moment of being like, oh, sad, but I would rather know than not know and then be stuck. And I think that's all that came down to, is like, I want you to know from the get-go that I would prefer you to communicate in a way that is open and potentially brutal than not, and then us drift apart as a result.
But I think that's what it comes down to, right? It just comes down to the communication side of things. It's like, I don't have any friends in my life that I feel like I can't communicate openly with, because then that means that there's something weird, wacky, and not wonderful going on around there, and it's probably not for me.
Yeah.
So it always comes down to like, if we can't, it's the same with like partners, right? Like if you can't communicate with your partner, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, if you can't communicate with your best friend, what the fuck are you doing? And I think as well, because we own a business, I say this podcast is a business, whatever,
but also
hold me
future.
in that, whatever. Oh. We own a business. Oh, what was that? Sorry. Own a business together. It's like, there's also that line.
Yeah.
It's like, we own a business, but we're also friends. Like, I've literally been morphed into your whole life. Like, we're going on a wedding and it's all your friends, but now they're my friends.
Oh, I'm so happy about
so
this.
excited.
Can I just go down a quick rabbit hole before we wrap up? So nothing brings me more joy than the people that I love, and the people that I love, I will ride into the sunset with. The people that I love obviously are going to get along with the other people I love, even if they're in completely different walks of life, because they have the values that I share. But what has happened in my life currently is the fact that I love Kate. We love Kate's partner, Ahmad. Kate and Ben are now besties. all of the partners have intertwined. We are going overseas next week as a result of this, and everyone's so close, and it genuinely makes me so happy.
And that came about another Bali trip that we went on
2 years ago, because you decided to come and I invited you, and now everyone gets along. But all of that's going to come down to the fact that all of the people that are close to me all feel the same way. We share the same values. We openly communicate. We want what's best. If we did fuck up somehow, we would try to navigate a way to, because we're wanting, again, like we spoke about earlier with AJ, if you, it's not you guys versus each other, relationship, whether it's friendship or platonic, it's versus the issue.
It's both of you together. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like if there's an issue, instead of fighting each other about the same issue,
No.
it's look at the issue and figure it out
Because we're
together.
trying to both
Yeah.
have a positive outcome.
Yeah.
And we're not fighting each other.
The last thing I want to say very, very quickly is back to the business thing. Like a lot of people ask me, how do you and Gemma navigate like business podcast life together and then having friendships together? And it's like, it's never seemed hard for me because I feel like we're very good at being like, cool, we need to do this. And then it's like, all right, shut the fuck up. How are you? What's going on? Tell me everything, la-di-da-di-da. And we speak every day.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single day that we do not interact with each other in some capacity.
But I also think that we wouldn't be where we are in our friendship, business and other things if we didn't have that. So it is aligned with us, and that's why it is organic. And on that note,
I love you.
I love you so much.
Thanks for sliding into my DMs.
Can't wait for Bali. Can't wait for future things. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any questions or topics that you would love us to cover in future episodes, we would love to hear from you, because then we can continue to do this thing. Rate us 5 stars if you haven't heard from the last 2 episodes, and peace out.